1 Samuel chapter 15. And Samuel said to Saul, "The Lord has sent me to anoint you as king over Israel, his people. And now hear the voice of the saying of the Lord. Thus says the Lord of hosts, now I shall punish what Amalek did to Israel when he met him in the way, ascending from out of Egypt. And now go, and you shall strike Amalek, and shall utterly destroy him, and all the ones of his. And you shall devote him to consumption, and all the things of his, and in no way shall you spare over him. And you shall kill from man and unto woman, and from infant and unto one nursing, and from calf and unto sheep, and from camel and unto donkey." And Saul gave exhortation to the people, and he numbered them in Gilgal, 200,000 of the ranks of Israel, and 10,000 of the men of Judah. And Saul came unto the city of Amalek, and laid in wait by the rushing stream. And Saul said to the Kenite, "You go forth, and turn away from out of the midst of Amalek, lest I add you with him. For you executed mercy with the sons of Israel in their ascending from out of Egypt." And the Kenite turned away from out of the midst of Amalek. And Saul struck Amalek from Havilah unto Shur at the face of Egypt. And he seized Agag, king of Amalek, alive. And all his people he utterly destroyed by the mouth of the broadsword. And Saul and the people preserved Agag, and the good ones of the flocks, and of the herds, and of the foods, and of the vineyards, and all of the good things. And they did not want to utterly destroy them. And every work being a disgrace, and being treated with contempt, they utterly destroyed. And came to pass the word of the Lord to Samuel, saying, "I have changed my mind for Saul to reign as king, for he turned away from following after me, and my words he did not give heed to." And Samuel was depressed, and yelled to the Lord the entire night. And Samuel rose early, and went to meet Israel in the morning. And it was reported to Samuel, saying, "Saul comes to Carmel, and behold, he has raised up to himself a hand, and turned his chariot, and went down into Gilgal." And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said to him, "Blessed are you to the Lord. I established all as many things as the Lord spoke." And Samuel said, "And what is the sound of this flock in my ears, and the sound of the oxen of which I hear?" And Saul said, "From out of Amalek I brought them, which the people procured, the most excellent of the flocks and of the herds, so as it may be a sacrifice to the Lord your God, and the rest I utterly destroyed." And Samuel said to Saul, "Spare, and I will report to you what the Lord spoke to me in the night." And he said to him, "Speak." And Samuel said to Saul, "Were you not small, even you, before yourself, for taking the lead of the chiefdom of the tribes of Israel? And the Lord anointed you for king over Israel. And the Lord sent you on the journey, and he said to you, 'Go and utterly destroy Amalek, the ones sinning against me. And you shall wage war against them until you should have finished them.' And why did you not hearken to the voice of the Lord, but advanced upon the spoils, and did the wicked thing before the Lord?" And Saul said to Samuel, "Because of my hearing the sound of the people, And I went in the way in which the Lord sent me, and I brought Agag, king of Amalek, and I utterly destroyed Amalek. And the people took of the spoils of the flocks and herds, the firstfruits of the offering for consumption, to sacrifice before the Lord our God in Gilgal. And Samuel said, Does the Lord want whole burnt offerings and sacrifices rather than the hearkening to the voice of the Lord? Behold, hearkening is above sacrifice, and heeding over the fat of rams. For sin is as an omen. Teraphim bring upon grief and miseries. Because you treated with contempt the word of the Lord, even the Lord treats you with contempt, to not be king over Israel. And Saul said to Samuel, I have sinned, for I violated the word of the Lord, and the saying by you. For I feared the people, and I hearkened to their voice. And now take away indeed my sin, and return with me, and I shall do obeisance to the Lord your God. And Samuel said to Saul, I shall not return with you, for you treated with contempt the saying of the Lord, and the Lord shall treat you with contempt, to not be king over Israel. And Samuel turned his face to go forth, and Saul took hold of the border of his doubled garment, and tore it. And Samuel said to him, The Lord tore your kingdom from Israel, from out of your hand today, and he shall give it to your neighbor, to the one good over you. And Israel shall be divided into two, and he shall not turn, nor shall the Holy One of Israel change his mind, for he is not as a man to change his mind. And Saul said, I have sinned, but glorify me before the elders of my people, and before Israel, and return with me, and I will do obeisance to the Lord your God. And Samuel returned behind Saul, and did obeisance to the Lord. And Samuel said, Bring to me Agag, king of Amalek. And Agag came forward to him, trembling. And Agag said, Is death thus bitter? And Samuel said to Agag, As your broadsword made women childless, thus your mother shall be made childless from women. And Samuel slew Agag in the presence of the Lord in Gilgal. And Samuel went forth unto Ramah, and Saul ascended unto his house in Gibeah. And Samuel proceeded not to see Saul until the day of his death, for Samuel mourned over Saul. And the Lord repented that Saul reigned over Israel.